Well, you can call back, and I kind of hung up on her. I think it was like 5 or 6. I don't even remember what year it was. But I hung up on her. He calls back. He goes, man, don't you know who the cause is? I was like, no, I don't know. And I'm asking my mom, who's the cause? It was Bill Cosby, of course, calling the house. And it was kind of funny because I was a young kid and I didn't know who it was. But the Cosby Show was already on the air, and he was a big fan of Dad, and Dad was friends with him. And just a funny story how that all worked out. But there were quite a few people that called the home and came by, and I can't really recollect a lot of them, but the family, we were very a private family. It was the Puente Seven. It was myself and my nieces and my brother and my sister-in-law, and my sister and my mom, and we would have Thanksgiving, Christmas, and do the family thing, and the Easter. We try to keep it very very close knit, tight family, and it was very very simple. It was very very simple when my father was alive. He did not want the whole hoopla of having this big family and a concert during holidays. He wanted to keep it very simple. So it was great. It was great being part of the Puente Seven.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, now I started my own little family, so hopefully
Nice.
I can keep it going.
That's beautiful. How many?
I have 2 children now. I have a little girl named Miranda Cristina Puente. She's 3 years old. And I have a little son. He's 1, and his name is Tito Puente Jr. Jr. Couldn't come up with anything more creative than that. So a lot of people say, well, he would be the 3rd. Not necessarily. My father's name was Ernesto Antonio Puente, and he was a junior himself. So my grandfather was Ernesto Antonio Puente Sr. My name is actually Tito Antonio Puente. So I'm really Tito Puente. What's funny is it's on my license, and that's my official name. But I added the junior so people could differentiate the name from synonymous to my dad. And my dad got the Tito from something small in the Latin world. It was Ernetito, Chiquito, and that's where my father got the Tito from. Wow. He was vertically challenged, but he played like a monster. So, and that's how that whole. So hopefully I can instill in my son the integrity of the music of his grandfather. Hopefully he can keep his traditions of the Puente family alive by performing and playing, and he's only 1, and I gave him some maracas already, so he's kind of hitting those around. So, wow. But he's I don't know if he's musically inclined, but I would never push him to do that. I would always want him just to want to do it. Me personally, my father did not push me or teach me how to play drums or anything like that. I kind of just learned on my own, and he made me go to school. Thought he made sure that education was very important, and that's how I kind of got into it.
Wow. So you were natural.
I was kind of a natural, yeah. I was always a ham, like in the school plays and stuff. I would participate, and but it was kind of different for me, I was born upstate New York, so I wasn't in Manhattan where I was more recognized and synonymous with the name as well. So when I was growing up, the kids kind of just gave me nicknames, and I was just a normal kid. So I had to earn my way through, junior high and high school, and learning the art and the craft of picking which instrument I wanted to play. And I took up bass and violin, viola, and I tried the horn and piano. I did so many different things, and drums was always my calling. But it wasn't the timbal, it was the trap kit, which I'm still fascinated with, and I love watching drummers,
And it's wonderful because you didn't feel forced.
No.
The desire came to you naturally.
Not at all.
It was instilled in you already.
Not at all. I think my dad, what he taught me, a couple of things that he taught me throughout life was when I went on the road with him, he said, I want you to listen and see and don't talk, and just watch how I, work my career and how it works. And I would just sit and be in watching amazement. Of course, when I was younger, I didn't really watch him at all. Me and my sister were always playing around backstage, but in time, I traveled with him. After I got out of college, I started traveling with him, and it was very, very interesting to see the reaction of crowds in different parts of the world. It wasn't just the U.S. or Latin America. I mean, going to Japan and Europe, and you would see the reaction of the crowds was always the same, that they appreciated the music. And he was really an icon. And that's when I started to get more appreciation for what he has, instilled in the Latin American culture. How he took our Latino roots and brought them to different parts of the world, and just amazing. But it was cool. It was cool. Some big shoes to fill for me and my son.
But you know something, He just has such a charisma and such a wonderful aura about him.
Absolutely.
That came out in all his performances.
Yeah.
And from the minute that I met you, I just sensed that you are like
thanks.
a carbon copy of your dad.
I
If
get
you
that
don't
a
mind
lot.
my saying
No,
so.
I get that a lot. I don't have the white hair. It's coming soon.
You look like him. You look like him.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
I get that a lot. To me, I embrace it. I embrace it. A lot of people say, oh, you compare yourself with your dad. There's a word called nepotism. And my father taught me before he passed away, he's like, you're always going to be compared to me. And I said, I will embrace the name and keep the integrity of the music when I perform it. I'll never compare myself. I'm not the Mambo Prince. He was the Mambo King. I'm not the Mambo Prince. More like the court jester of the castle. But what I do is I embrace his name and I keep the integrity of the music alive and push forward to make sure that the youth of today remember who Tito Puente was and still is a very integral part of Latin music history.
So at what age did you first perform on stage and where? Do you remember?
Wow. Oh, I can't really remember that far back, but I guess my mom had me doing a couple of things. I remember doing something in like kindergarten with like Ernie and Bert, like puppets. I guess that would be a performance. I don't know if we ever videotaped it. I know I have pictures of it, but professionally,
That's good enough.
I would say when I was in high school, I had a rock band, and that's when we went on the road. And we actually took it, we got the U-Haul truck and we got in the back and we did it, real old school, to the grind, to the ground way of like traveling. It was us and 10 other bands in a little van, and we looked like clowns, and it was great. It was great. To me, that was like, I think professionally, because that was professionally, you could say I got paid. I think it was about $20. Paid like $20, and I played for like 3 hours, and my hands were like bleeding at the end of the night. Wow. But it was fun. And still to this day, if it's not fun, then I don't want to do it.
Exactly.
But
it has to be.
some places I still get $20, so go figure. But it's nice. It's nice.
I know the feeling.
I would have to say it was in like the 80s. I was a teenager at that time, professionally. And after that, it just took off. I just loved performing and playing the drums. Just the syncopation of time and rhythm and all that. Just fascinating stuff.
Wow. I feel like, it's just magical.
Yeah.
It's really,
right.
It's magical. So, tell me something. Do you have any favorite causes that you avidly support? Are there any foundations that you are?
I have quite a few causes that I like to participate in and perform for and give my time and energy and effort into. One of them is the National Meningitis Foundation. And they are just very, very adamant about making sure that the kids today check yourself out, get vaccinated for meningitis. There's too many children with meningitis, and it can be avoided. It's one of those diseases that can be avoided. It's not like the big C where you can't avoid that. That just naturally comes. But I do support the Cancer Foundation, breast cancer research. I support a lot of different things, but to me, the Meningitis Foundation is something that can be stopped. And we have to make sure, just like the flu, just get the flu shot and get that flu shot, and there should be enough vaccine to go around to make sure that the youth of today can survive. Meningitis is an old disease, and my aunt, may she rest in peace, I never got to meet her or met her. I've never have met her, and she was her name was Annie, and her name was Annie Puente, and she was 19 years old, and she died of spinal meningitis back in 1938, I believe. So I never got to meet her, but to me it means something close to my heart that it was part of my family, and it could have been avoided if they had the vaccine back then, but they do today. And it's a very simple procedure. Just go to the doctor and get the vaccine, and that's it. So you wouldn't want to see the kids with any meningitis. Meningitis meningococcal is one of those diseases you can just totally avoid. And a lot of my friends' kids have them, and I just make sure that they get vaccinated. I also support PETA too. Animals to me are a very rare, precious thing.
Nice.
And I love dogs, cats, everything. I've had them all my life. So animals to me mean a lot, and I support PETA in anything they do. And I don't have any animals in my videos or anything like that.
Right.
Not speaking of the guys in the band. I'm speaking of actual animals. So, you know, I'm an animal advocate. I'm not hardcore, but I don't believe